I literally just said that before we hopped on. I was like, what is my hair doing? Like, it's not even like, it was like all puffed out and yeah.
And Natalie looks all pretty.
I was like, get out.
Well, that's why I wear hats, ladies. Why I wear hats.
I mean, so there are some days where I'm like, nope, this is going in a hat. That's just
beanie. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I also haven't cut my hair since retreat, so that's also enough.
Oh, let's see it.
I want to see how big it is.
Oh,
wow.
There's a lot, and I have a mini mullet starter kit going in the back.
Oh man,
a mini mullet.
That is hysterical.
So
oh my
good.
gosh. We just got our blood work done.
Yeah, we did.
And our doctors asked us, what are we doing to have such great blood work?
Yeah, and you know what we told them?
ProCare.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we told them we take ProCare every day because they have a multivitamin that you can just take one a day.
Yes, exactly. They have a capsule and a chewable form. And not only do they have vitamins, but they also have calcium chews.
Oh my God, they're so good.
They're so delicious. It's like our own little sweet treat for the end of the night.
It really is because they have the dark chocolate and they have the cinnamon roll.
Yes, and I love the salted caramel and the dinner mint.
Alrighty, we'll go to procarenow.com
and use code OSLP at checkout to save some money. Okay, trying to figure out portion sizes after weight loss surgery is fucking hard.
So hard. So freaking hard.
So we found this company and they take the guesswork out of it.
Yeah, my goodness, guys. Look, it's portion perfection. They have bowls and plates and they have all sorts of organizing things on their website. I can't wait to get more. But it literally tells you 1 cup, 1.5 cup, 1/4 of a cup. Like the guesswork is completely gone.
Yes. And the plate, even better. Protein, salad, veggies, whatever. And then this little section, carbs. So because you can have carbs.
You can have carbs.
We are so excited and we cannot wait to see what you guys think of this. This is definitely OSLP approved.
100%. So the link is down below. So click that link, get your discount, and start getting your portions correctly now. We have found something very, very extraordinary, and it's different.
It is one of a kind. Mm-hmm. It is Nutri Health.
Yes.
And they are giving you the next level information on your weight loss surgery journey.
They really are, because they fill you with all this information about exercise and food. You watch a little clip, 1.5 minutes at the most, and then you do a little fact checks, and then you do an article, and then you do a quiz one time.
One time. And so you get to track your progress. And not only do they have these quizzes, but they have a place that you can log your food, your exercise, and your weight.
Yeah. And they're not tracking calories, guys. They're tracking your mood. Like, how did you feel yesterday about your food? Did you exercise? So it's a way for you to journal without journaling.
Yes. So go to NutriHealth.com, choose Our Sleeve Life Podcast as your provider, and sign up to maximize your weight loss surgery journey.
Yeah. So go now.
Welcome back, bariatric family. You are listening to Our Sleeve Life Podcast.
And the Berry Nation podcast.
Yeah, this is Kelly.
This is Mel.
This is April.
And I'm Jason.
I'm Natalie.
Yay! We did it!
We're all together.
So if you guys haven't guessed, we are colliding with Berry Nation.
Yes.
So the two big bariatric podcasts are coming together.
We have united.
We have united. Yes. So we are going to talk about how we started in this, and then what we've learned from not only doing the podcast with the community, but also just our own personal journeys.
What's really cool is Berry Nation's going to be at the award show.
They are going to be at the award show.
And actually, each person has been nominated, and all of them have been nominated.
Jason hasn't.
He was in the nomination.
Oh, you're in the honorable mentions.
Yeah, he's been nominated, though. Yeah,
yes.
Technically.
You are in the honorable mentions because that's something cool that we're doing is every single person, all 500 and something of people that were nominated are all going to be a part of these honorable mention videos before each category.
They'll be made by me, and you're going to love them.
You're going to love them. If you don't, you're going to pretend like you like them because she's going to take a lot of time to put 500 people in these videos.
Yeah.
So if you haven't guessed it, we are doing an award show in November.
That's right.
In Portland, Oregon. And we are kind of bringing the entire bariatric.
We
are bringing the whole bariatric community together for one night to just celebrate everybody that's a part of it.
I know. And it doesn't matter like who you are, where you are, if you have 0 followers, 1 million followers, we just want you guys all together.
Yeah, because each person has a different inspirational story, which scratch that. And then each person brings a little bit of different light to this bariatric community.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I like the other one still.
I'll tell you why I don't later.
I think I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now. Okay. That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
We're just going to roll right on by that little one. But everybody does bring a different vibe, different light to this community, because without everybody together, we wouldn't have as great a community as we do have.
Right. And everybody matters. Like, that's the deal. We all matter. I'm so sick of people being like, all they do is regain or die over there. Like, why are people getting surgeries? Like, it's stupid and
They're
annoying.
amputating their stomachs. No, we're not.
Oh
we're
my
not.
God. I'm going to amputate
we are
their
giving
face.
ourselves another chance at life.
Yeah.
So for one night only, we are doing this.
Yes.
You want to go to oursleevedlifepodcast.com and you want to go to the award show page.
Just be you.
Just be you. And you want to first vote.
Yes.
Second, you want to buy your ticket. And third, you want to book your hotel.
Right? They're all right there.
They're all on the same page.
Super easy.
Go over and do that. And this would not be possible without our amazing sponsors.
I know. We have a lot of them.
We have a lot of them. So let's run through them. Okay. We got ProCare. Then we got Jamie, sleep dietitian, tribe membership.
Yep.
Then we have Michaela Miller.
The losing and blooming.
Yes. And then we have Surgical Associates of Bay and Up Point.
Yeah. Was there Tampa Bay? I do want to explain 1 second why we like them so much. They have their aftercare is like the exercise.
Oh my God.
They do exercise.
It really is. They focus on exercise pre-op and post-op, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have your surgeon.
My surgeon, Dr. Emma Patterson with Oregon Weight Loss Surgery Center in Portland. I love you. Thank you.
And then we have Dr. Joe Cribbins.
Yes.
With Marty. Marty will be at the show.
His little
Cannot wait because I take a selfie with him every time I see him.
Me do.
So that is happening again. And then we also have Dr. Eric Smith.
Yes.
He is the surgeon for 1,000 Pound Sisters on TLC. He is an incredible, incredible man who is just here for the community.
He is.
Then we also have Tabitha, the real Berry Boss. She is a truly incredible woman herself.
Yes, she's a bariatric therapist.
Yes. And then last but not least, we have Miss Nolani, who is own bariatrics. Yes. She's a transformation coach.
She really is. And I love what she does with the people and really helps them evolve.
Yes. So. And that's kind of our whole theme of our sponsors. We really love them. Their mission really aligns with ours, and they really care about this community. And that's all we want.
And the vibe that I always say is like, look, all these people are trying to help the community. And look, you need a dietitian. You need your vitamins. You need your surgeon. You need your therapist. Like, they're all there.
Yep.
And they all believe in this community. We need the transformation
you
coach. You need your life coaches. Like, they're helpful.
Yes.
Yes, you need your vitamins.
Yes, every day.
Every
if you
day.
have not taken them, go take them right now. Okay. All right. That is it.
That is our spiel about the award show.
That is our spiel about the award show. So now let's head into the actual episode.
Yes.
Which let's see. Why don't you guys start out? Where did the podcast even start from?
Ooh, okay, I'll take this one. And then because it's a little bit of a funny story.
Okay.
So I had bariatric surgery in July of 2019, and right, was handed a binder. And then I got home from the hospital and was in the deepest, darkest place I'd ever been in my entire life, because it's like, oh my God, what have I done? I can't turn to food, all of the things. It was awful.
Yeah.
And that's just not me. So consulted my binder, called my surgical center, had one friend that I knew. And very quickly it dawned on me that I was going to need more support than what I was getting from my surgical center. And then the pandemic happened. So the world shut down. I am a master teacher. I have a master's degree in educational leadership. I've been in online education for a decade now.
Oh, wow.
So Zoom to me is like no brainer.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head popped in, oh my God, I could start hosting these like Zoom gatherings with other bariatric patients that I was seeing on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I could invite in these experts to kind of like talk to us about something that's going along in our journey. And that would be a really cool way to just like connect with people who get it. Cause I was just so desperate.
Yeah.
So I
like
started
that.
the virtual bariatric meetup, which we still do to this day.
Nice.
The VBM. So I had like 1 or 2 under my belt. And this was also the time when like the Russian trolls were hacking into Zoom.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I love
it. So you're always on the lookout for this. So anyway, we're hosting this VBM and here somebody by the name of Jason is trying to get into the Zoom. And I'm like, men do not have bariatric surgery. This is a Russian troll. Goodbye. And I kept kicking him out. Oh my God. And then he kept trying to come back in. And finally I was like, something in the back of my brain was like, maybe he does want to be here. So when the meeting ended, so the VBM was over, right? I let him in and I was like, hi, who are you? And he was like, oh, hi. Did I miss the virtual bariatric meetup? And I was like, I'm sorry, who are you? Like, this makes no sense in the world. And poor Jason was like, well, no, like I just had my surgery and I'm just looking for extra support. And then of course I felt like an asshole because here I've been kicking him out this entire time.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
So he and I had like an hour-long conversation after the VBM. And I was like, wow, that guy is like really, really nice. And we started following each other on Instagram. He came to the next one.
Nice.
Oh, hi, Jason. And then he came to the next one. And we kept like talking afterwards.
Okay.
And it wasn't weird. It wasn't anything like that. But he and I just absolutely hit it off. And we were talking about how we both love listening to podcasts, but there were no patient voice ones out there at the time.
No.
None. And then all of a sudden that guy's like, oh, I do a podcast. I host a podcast. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yes. So the two of us teamed up. He convinced me to try it. I spent weeks. I mean, you should probably take over the story at this point, Jason. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks writing show notes, researching, contacting experts, doing all this stuff. Like I created a whole new Google thing for us. I was sending them all this stuff. Well, you guys know you can see who reads things in Google.
Yes. Yeah.
This fool never opened a single thing I sent him. Not one. And me being the type A master's degree teacher, I'm like, bro.
You're like, bro, look at this. What are you doing? Yeah.
What are you doing? Right.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was time to record. And she's sitting there asking me, she's like, well, I noticed I sent you this stuff to read over. Did you look at it? And I said, no. And she looked at me like she was about to come through the screen on me. And I explained to her, I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing. I was like, about me, you got to know. I was like, I'm a winger. I got to wing it. I'm off the top of my head. Like if I rehearse it, you're going to know I rehearsed it. If I read it, it's going to sound like it. I was like, so if you just I was like, here's the deal. I was like, give me 3 episodes to do it the way that I do it. I was like, and if you don't like them, I was like, we don't have to publish them. We can trash them and I will still help you behind the scenes. I just won't be a part of it.
Okay.
And she was so skeptical because she's like, I don't understand how anyone could do that. How do you work like that? And I'm like, I promise you, I was like, I swear. I was like, you got to know that this is just how it goes down.
Yeah.
And so she's like, we'll see. So we do the first episode and she's like, she still didn't get it. She's like, I don't know how the hell you did that, but we're going to try it again and we'll see. And I was like, okay, cool. We knocked another one out. She was like, I still don't know. I was like, well, we'll do one more. And I was like, cool. We did another one and the rest is history. Like she gets in, but like, dude, it's hilarious when I show, like when people actually see, like I will stroll my ass in here 5 minutes before it's time to go. Like I know who we're talking to, but everything that comes out of me comes right off the top while I'm doing it.
Yep.
I throw a hat on, brush the beard out and jump on camera like, what's up?
I feel like that's sometimes good though, because I know that we purposely, like when we're interviewing someone, we don't like research their Instagram or their story or anything because I want to be shocked. Yeah. I want to be like, I want to hear it for the first time because if you've heard it a million times, you're like,
Yep. Well, yeah. And the reactions are not the best.
They're not. They're not.
No.
You want that authentic.
And the thing that was really the icing on the cake is our very first episode. And granted, I'm a Zoom expert. I did not hit record. Hit record.
No.
And I was like, and so Jason was like, oh, So you did all that preparation. And it was like, oh, I'm going to straight
son of a bitch.
murder you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it truly was the best. And we were so nervous. We were like, oh, maybe nobody's going to listen, blah, 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 blah. But as you guys know, it was needed and necessary and people loved it. And I think what really captivated a lot of people is that men do exist in our community and their voices have not been heard. So for the first time, it was a podcast from a male and a female perspective. And of course, Jason and I are not married, right? We're just friends.
Yeah.
So, it really added a different dynamic. Then within the first, right? And I think within the first year or year and a half, we found Natalie on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we loved her story. We were just enamored with her. She came on the podcast. It was supposed to be an hour. We ended up recording for 4 hours.
Holy shit.
She and I, right? It was the next day or the day before, you and I talked on the phone for hours and it was well, we're family now.
Yeah.
Welcome to Berry Nation.
Yes.
What actually happened is both OSLP and Berry Nation kind of started at the same time. That was the same time that I was going into my pre-op.
Yes.
And I was like, I need, it was the height of COVID. It was July 2020. I was like, okay, I'm going down to my parents, but I need support because my parents are not bariatric patients. They don't know what I'm going through.
Right.
So I was Googling and on Instagram for a bariatric podcast. And I found the both of you. So I just started when I say binge listening, I mean, let me get all of the knowledge in my head. Anytime I needed to just check out of living with my parents again, it was earbuds in, don't talk to me, hardcore stuff. So
I
then
love it.
I had my surgery, came home, and Jason was on Berry Nation's, well, it was East to West, but now it's Berry Nation, but stories. And he just said something really profound. And I think he was referencing the podcast episode that I had just listened to. And so I went on my stories and I said, wow, you guys have to listen to this podcast because this was life-changing and just blew my mind. And then we just started talking in DMs. Jason and I just started going back and forth, talking, chatting. Then eventually April reached out to me and was like, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast. Do you have time for a phone call? And I thought, yeah, totally. 30-minute phone call, just for the details. No, we ended up talking for 3 hours. And I said, April, we got to stop because we have to record tomorrow. And you already know my life story.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And then it was just, they were like, hey, we want you to work with us. And then it was, hey, we want you on the podcast. And so the rest is history.
That's so perfect.
I love it because we've had you on a few times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember you going through pre-op because I think we actually sang happy birthday to you.
You did.
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did. Because I was like, it's Nat's birthday. We should go on and sing happy birthday to her and tag her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, we did a live.
It was a live.
We did a live and we sang happy birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, this girl has got something special. And we were instantly glued to your whole pre-op journey.
Yeah.
And especially you were in Mexico. And I remember being like, you're good. You got this. Cause I know you were kind of a little nervous. And
I mean, surgery was supposed to be the next day.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you're going to have it today. And I remember getting on stories and crying. And then I didn't even check my phone for a full day. And then I got your guys' message and I was like, it was okay.
Yeah. Everything was fine.
Right?
Yes. I loved it. And I remember us starting the podcast and then we were we thought the same thing as you guys. There's no bariatric podcasts from a patient's point of view.
It was weird because the night that I had the idea and I was like, okay, because I go over to Kelly's on Thursdays, which is funny because I still do. And
to this day.
And I was like, oh, I need to research before I just bring this up to her, so I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is podcasts. I'm just not able to find it. So then I just did a deep dive for hours. And I was like, there's nothing. There's really nothing. I even was I asked my kid, I was like, am I blind? Am I just doing this wrong? And he's like, no, he's like, it's doctors. It's all doctors. And then I found some older ones that have been on, but aren't on anymore. And I was like, okay, there's something here. there's like, we could totally do this. So like I went over on Thursday and we had our taco salad and
we walked around the block
and
she was like, okay, I have this crazy idea. I'm like, okay, what is it? She's like, I think we should do a podcast. And I was like, Mel, I've never listened to a podcast in a day of my life.
No. And I listen to them all day. So I'm just
all day. And I'm like,
I don't not
know.
What
I don't. And I didn't at that time. And I was like, but we all know I can talk.
Yes.
So let's try it out. I'm not promising anything because I don't know how I sound on a mic. And I was real nervous that first one.
Oh my God, those first few are hilarious. Have you guys gone back and listened to your guys' too?
Oh my God.
We actually watched it. Me and my wife and our friend Tab actually listened to the very first episode. We listened to 3 episodes. We listened to the very first one, then we listened to one like midway, and then we listened to the one where we actually changed over to Berry Nation. And it is night and day.
Right?
Between the 3 of them. It's nuts.
It's so nuts. You're just like, oh my God, like Kelly's like monotone.
Yeah, I have no emotion. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Because that's not me.
That's like listening to the doctor's gripping tales. They're like,
that was me. So when we first started, we actually had a producer. We had Marcus. And he would record all the stuff for us. And then as he edited them, he would send them to us on our phones so that we could listen to them, like at least the first 3 until we like started actually releasing. And so for some reason, I still have them saved on my phone, but they show up in my like music.
Yep.
So I'll put it on shuffle and then randomly our music will start. And I'm like, nope. I was in the shower one time. And it went to one of our things. And I like put my phone on like the counter. So I'm in the shower and I hear it and I'm like, fuck, I have to listen to this for the next 10 minutes while I shower. And it was awful. It was awful. I was like, who decided that we were allowed to continue?
I know.
Well, I will say, like, as a listener, turned podcaster, like, I think the most fun thing as a listener, and same with like East to West to Berry Nation, it's like you hear that growth. Like, in the beginning, it was a little bit more like, you're trying to be professional and all this stuff. And then it's like, as your personalities come out, it's like, oh, I'm listening to my friends. Like, and that's what I would tell my parents. Like, I'm listening to my friends. Don't talk to me. Like, I have my friends in my ears. Okay?
Oh, I love it.
I love that.
Oh my God.
Happens. And I think that's why this works.
It does.
Berry Nation and OSLP, it's like, we're their friends too.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we want to be. We want to people, I think from both sides of us, we want people to feel comfortable to not only listen to us and envision the support given, but also be able to feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of this like, sometimes when I first started my Instagram, when I decided I was going to have surgery, I felt like I was on the outside and I didn't know quite how to connect with anybody. Like I was posting these pictures, but I wasn't really like interacting. And so when we started the podcast, I was like, no, I want somebody to see our page and be like, oh, they're welcoming me in. Yeah. I can talk to them about anything and feel really supported, and that I'm not looking from the outside in, that I'm actually a part of this community.
Yeah.
So, and I get that same vibe from you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. We, I mean, all 5 of us, right? Our mission is that we want to authentically share what we're going through, so that really it's twofold. People know that when they go through it themselves, they know somebody else who has been there, right? Yeah. So it's evidence that our brains can't use against us, right? Because it's like, oh no, this person went through it. I'm going through it now. Okay, this is normal.
Yeah. Yep.
But it also humanizes a medical procedure that has been demonized and stigmatized for its entire existence. And when you finally see patients that are sharing the real and the raw, right? The highlight and the be real, it normalizes it. And that opens the door for somebody to reach out. I mean, all of us met, well, I mean, you guys were close friends before this, but it's DMs, right? It's a literal DM that is sent over Instagram. It's one question, and that sparks a relationship. Now that relationship might not continue, but it becomes a lifeline of support. And it takes a lot of bravery to step into that light just to make that first DM. It takes even more bravery to do what we do and go, hey, I'm a bariatric patient. I'm public about it, because we've all had shit from people. I mean, people have said horrible things to us about our decision to have bariatric surgery. But we are stronger than other people's opinions of us because we are finally kind of owning who we are as patients. And we're in a position to help so many, but you only help them if you are accessible.
Exactly.
And that can be hard to do. I mean, we get people all the time. I mean, we all do, I'm sure, every day. They'll send a DM and you respond. And then they respond with, oh my God, I can't believe it's you.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Who else would it be? Right? Who else would it be? And then they're like, oh my God, I'm fangirling so hard. And instantly I send them a voice message and I just say, do not ever say that to me again. You and I are the exact same person. I will block your ass. Like, no, because I'm no different than them. We're both bariatric patients. We share the exact same thing. So you will get to the place where you're as comfortable with your experience as I am. It just means you're not there yet. And that's okay. Yeah. But you get there by having these conversations with other people.
Yes. And not everybody, I mean, one thing about the 5 of us is that we really like stepped into the role. Like we were like, I don't care what people say about me. I'm doing this for a greater good. And I don't care what you know about my life, because something that I'm going through may help somebody else that thought that they were completely alone.
Yeah. That was like the biggest deal, because I was alone.
Yeah.
Because mine 7 years ago, I didn't have any support or help. So like I only had like haters. It was just like, do you really think you're going to be able to keep all that weight off? It's like, yeah, I do. That's why I'm doing this, you buster.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, so I don't want anybody else. Huh?
That's kind of what we talk about with everybody. Kind of one of the things that I routinely say when we end the podcast for us is just specifically like, we couldn't do what we do without the support of everybody in the community.
Yeah.
Like their support, they all think that we're supporting them and doing all this stuff for them, when in turn they're doing just the same for us. Like they support us more than they would ever know. That's why I hate like the term follower or fan or any of that shit. Cause I'm like, you guys are our friends. You guys are our community, because you guys support us just as much as we can ever support you guys. So
1,000%.
It's family to us. The same with you guys. Like you guys, it's just we never wanted that term. Like we don't like influencer. We don't like celebrity. We don't like any of that. So like keep all that shit to like no. We don't.
It feels foreign. It's like that's not me.
It's like you never have imposter syndrome until somebody says something like that, and you're like looking around like who. Where's the influencer? And they're like, you. No.
I always think it's funny because I'm like, we're from Salem, Oregon. Like, there's nothing like going on. I mean, thanks, but we're you. Really? Really? The first time we got asked to take a photo with somebody, so they were actually local. It's actually Haley.
It's Haley, part of the Tummy Tales.
Yeah. And she was going through something, and she had wanted a sticker, and we were like, you're local. We'll just bring a sticker over to you. Yeah. And we brought it over, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And like dragged her husband out and was like, you have to, like, they're here. And I was like, I was laughing so hard because I'm like, we're just like you. Like,
we're neighbors. What are you talking about? Like, we just live over there. Like,
what's even funnier is that small world is like, now I play fantasy football with her husband. Like,
yes,
because she's best friends with our tattoo artist, and I'm in their football league, and so is her husband. So like we all hang out. It's totally fine.
Yeah,
it's so good. Well, and like Jason, like you come on the lives, and you were so fun on the lives.
Yes,
I love that. Like that's what I think. What's nice is like you represent really good for the males, just FYI, if you don't know that. Because like you are very friendly and easy to talk to, and that's goes a long way with this journey. And like we need more dudes to be able to be like that. So like you were like all in talking to us and playing and having fun and like no problems. Like it didn't feel like there's a weird creepy guy like talking to us. Like I didn't even get that vibe at all. It was just like he's like a brother.
No, it was like every time you'd pop on, we'd be like, what up, Jason?
Yeah.
Like, we just enjoyed the like easiness of it. Like we could just be ourselves. There was no, even from being like teenagers and then being like all throughout our lives, you kind of hide yourself behind what's going on. And it was like the first time in my life that I could freely be myself and nobody batted an eyelash at it.
No, like with this surgery, it really shows you who you are. And it's awesome.
Yeah. No, absolutely it is. And that's kind of one of the things like April, Nat, and I laugh about all the time. It's like when we first started, it took a long time for me to gain like the big brother type foothold in the community because it is 98% women.
Yeah.
And I'm just a guy out here. So like a lot of people will be like, well, why are you liking my pictures? And why are you doing this? And I'm doing transformation pictures and kind of looking at me like it took a long time for me to get to gain a foothold. People know that I'm legitimate and genuine and not just being a creeper. And like when we started doing shout out Sundays, I'm on my regular page and I'm asking like, hey, we want to do a shout out Sunday for you. So send us some side-by-side photos, comparison, a little blob about, whatever. And we'll throw you up there. And I'm like, I'm talking to April. I'm like, dude, it's been 3 weeks and I've got a response one. I was like, I've sent like 40 of these things out and nobody's responded. No. And I'm like, it took a minute to click. And I'm like, because I'm a creepy ass dude in their inbox going, let me get some side-by-side pictures of you.
Preferably if you're wearing lingerie.
Right. Most of the people do side-by-side pictures of like a sports bra and some shorts. And I'm like, hey, let me get some transformation pictures. And they're probably like, no, skeevy, like get out of my box. And so, luckily when that came along, we're like, hey, how about you take over the Shout Out Sundays? Because I'm done getting in people's creepy inbox stuff. So.
Oh my God, that is so good.
And it's so funny too, because like, trying to explain what I do to like my parents, like I'm still I'm in my 20s, and trying to explain to my parents that I'm going to like the first bariatric event I've ever been to in San Diego. Oh yeah, I'm going to go get dinner with Jason and April. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, have you not been listening to their Like I'm sending you episodes to kind of get you familiar with who they are, and then, they got more and then it was like, okay, we're traveling to Ohio. Guess who I'm going with? Yeah. April and Jason. Like, I get comfortable with this. And then, the other day I was talking to my mom about everyone in the community because she's coming to the Just Be You Awards.
Yeah, she is.
I hate for the event.
I love it.
So I said, you got to start learning people's names. I know there's a lot, but you got to do some homework. And I said, this is Jason. And he's like the big brother of the community because XYZ, but it does. It takes people a minute, especially in our community.
Yeah.
Who have been preyed on essentially.
Yeah.
Well, and imagine how weird it was for like Jason and I, we're now very good friends. We are married to other people, not to each other. So when I went to my husband and was like, hey, I think you're going to start a podcast with a random man I met on Instagram who also happens to have bariatric surgery and he lives in Florida. I think my husband was like,
Huh?
I'm sorry, what?
You think you're doing what?
Wait, when were you talking to a guy? Hold on, I'm confused. Wait, back the truck up.
A guy on the internet.
On the Instagram? What are we talking about?
What is the gram?
And we talked a lot. Like when we first got to this thing going, like we were having meetings on Zoom, we were having meetings on Instagram Live, we were doing video messages back and forth. So I mean, we were heavy talking to each other. So I was like, my wife would be like, "Who you talking to?" I'm like, "I was April." And I let her know ahead of time, but she knows I'm always doing shit like this. So to her, it was old hat. Like, cause I've been doing stuff on Facebook Live with another friend of mine for like 3 years before I even did this. So as soon as I told her what I was doing, she was like, "Oh, that's cool." And just kind of ran with it. So it wasn't a big deal to her, but yeah, everybody else was kind of like, "This is the who? You're doing what with who?" Like,
I remember us. We were like, "Are they married? Are they married?"
Yeah, I was like, "Are they married?" Wait, they're in two different places. What? Wait,
no, they're friends. How does this work? They're friends because one's East Coast, one's West Coast. Like, I get the name, so we're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it worked out so good though, because Jason and I we knew that this could be a potential issue, so we wanted to. We wanted to address it, very first thing. So it was like, hey, I think this podcast thing is going to work. We should continue it. And then it's like, okay, well, we need our spouses to meet by Zoom.
Yeah.
And then every time we're doing something together, they need to know that we're doing it.
Yes.
So we were so methodical with it. And we were always checking in with each other to see like, okay, how's Sarah doing? How's Grady doing? What's the deal? And it has been I mean, I didn't think this type of thing could exist in like the modern world. And it's been absolutely fabulous. Our spouses support us 1,000%. Our spouses talk to each other now via Instagram. They're always checking in on each other. I mean,
that's
it's
so
just
cool.
It's been really good, but it does crack me up because people still come up to us every time we're together, like, oh, you guys are just the cutest couple, or oh,
we're like,
and we're like,
no,
this is not my husband. This is my friend.
Yes.
So thank you for the compliment. I know we're very attractive humans, but yes, no.
Like, but thank you.
Brady's got to come to some events.
Yes.
I'm hoping, I'm hardcore hoping he is going to join us in November because
that'd be really cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to dress up and like wear a tux
or a suit, a really nice suit.
I've already informed Zach that he does need to dress up.
Oh, Eric's taking him shopping. Eric's already like, he knows because Zach's like, he's a roughneck. And so like,
he has like 5 shirts.
Yeah. He doesn't care about clothes.
I finally made him buy 3 more shirts and he's like, I don't need any more clothes. You have 5 shirts, dude. Like I just moved in with you and got rid of 5 boxes of clothes and still cannot fit everything in your closet. Yeah. So
and you have 5 shirts. 5 shirts.
You have 5 shirts like that are not orange and not yellow.
Yep.
Like,
Eric's like, I'm taking him. I'm taking him. I'm taking Dylan. I'm taking Garth. We're all going together.
All the guys are going to go.
They're going to have a day of it. So I'm like, good. Because Eric can dress. So I'm like, just dress all the guys.
Eric has a very good style. And I want some of it to rub off on Zach. Because I'm like, dude, because he's like, what am I wearing tonight? And I was like, wear whatever you want. And he's like, no, because you're going to take a picture for Instagram. And I'm like, of course I am. Like, who am I? Like this man does not, like, he's not really on Instagram. He just scrolls through TikToks. He doesn't create any. He just scrolls them. And I'm like, okay, you realize that I have a permanent footing in social media. So you need to, step up your game a little bit.
You don't have to change your clothes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to point out, like, so if people don't realize how supportive we really are, is that Berry Nation helped me while I was going through my stuff with Eric. And I was able to have protein every morning for like 2 fucking weeks because of these people. Because I want to say thank you because I found out today that that's 19 grams for 2 egg bites.
Yes.
So I was getting 19 grams every morning for like 2 weeks because of y'all. So thank you.
You kept her healthy. You kept her healthy. Yeah. No, it was very sweet because through all of it, like you guys really like were asking and like making sure everything was good. And if she needed anything, and it was very heartwarming.
It was. I teared up. I cried a couple times.
Yeah. And I was having a discussion with somebody and I was like, these people that some of them I have never met in person. I just talked to, they genuinely care more than most people in my actual like face-to-face life. And that's what this is really cool about all of this.
It's so cool and so weird because you're like, you would think some of the family members that are close or the friends that are close, and you get to see when you go through trauma, like who's really in your corner. And it was a very overwhelming feeling. I was like, people actually care. Like, this is crazy. I had no idea that people actually care about me. So like, I was in tears. Like anytime someone sent me something, I was like, oh my God, there's another one.
You're so cute. You're so funny. But she did. She cried a lot.
I did
she
cry
cried
a lot.
And
update, I've been 5 days without crying now.
Yes.
So
you look a little teary-eyed right now, though.
Well, because I remembered how it felt when it's not fair.
We know how much this all takes.
Yeah.
The podcast is a monumental lift. And then supporting the community is a secondary monumental lift. And when we didn't want to pry into your personal life, but we saw that you were posting a little bit more. So that's when Nat was like, hey, I'm going to reach out to the girls and just see what's going on.
Yeah.
And thank God, we did, because we know how much effort this takes. So then when you have to step away, you're stepping away from your personal life and then what you're doing for the community, and you need to focus on that. But there's guilt and there's, all this stuff that goes with it. And yeah, we knew that we had to support you somehow to get you through that. And we know that everybody's busy, and, if we can keep your Starbucks card full so that you can eat, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, so. It totally helped, because that was the thing. Like, with being a bariatric patient, like, protein first, protein most. And we always say, like, we feel dumb if we're not getting our protein because like we literally feel it, like we can't function. So by the way, people, eat your freaking protein, because like I was literally waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning with doctors coming in. I had to be on and to understand the things that were coming at me. And the only reason I was able to, especially in the mornings, was because of those egg bites, because I was able to like get protein in and then listen, because there was just so much. I probably talked to like 6 different doctors almost every day. It was it was intense, especially for the first few weeks. So like if I could at least get protein in, like that was like my control of the day. Because like when you fall off your routine in this whole situation, like you're like, I need to control something. What can I control? And the fact that I could at least control the protein made me feel like a little bit at ease. And I was like, okay, I'm not like throwing everything to the trash can, but at least I got the protein in and I felt like I could function and be there for Eric. So like, guys, like I cannot stress enough. We have an episode coming out just about protein, because we learned some new facts on our own that we didn't know about how important for your body functions. Yeah. For you to,
because we all know how important it is, but we like have never done like a deep dive into protein.
It's crazy.
I'm like, holy crap.
Molecular level. Like,
yes.
It is so important.
Yes.
So important.
Oh my God.
And even more important than we thought.
Yeah.
We did a whole month on macros, and we interviewed like 4 different dietitians, and every week we took a different macro, and we have a same thing, a whole episode on protein. And it was just like, it frustrates me sometimes, because that's the type of information that we needed, not necessarily before surgery, but after surgery, right? Because you're primed for that information after surgery. It's not maybe I need to know this. It becomes no, you absolutely need to know this.
Yeah.
And if you had that learning along the way to access, then you would not have an issue getting your protein in, because I need that for my brain. I need that for my muscles. I need that for cellular function. Yeah. That's very different than you need it because you're a bariatric patient.
Right. Yes. Well, and like, go ahead.
We're not dumb. Like sometimes I feel like they treat patients like we're idiots. And it's like, no, this is the information that I need. And the fact that you're not giving it to me makes me even more frustrated at this post-op process.
Yeah.
It's almost 100%. Like a bias. Like it's like, oh, well, I'm fat, so I'm lazy and I'm stupid. Thanks. And I don't have taste buds because everybody produces the stupidest products for us.
So gross. There's so many gross products.
People on how to eat right are fat people, because that's all we hear our whole life. And so, but it's like, all you hear is the high level, like, you eat this because this, like, because you'll lose weight. You eat this because you lose weight. And it's like, well, what actually happens? Like, what's that information?
Yeah. We actually found what are like the top 8 symptoms that you have if you're lacking protein.
I get 4 every day.
I get 6 out of 8 every day. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not getting enough protein. Yeah. Maybe I should start tracking again, because that just made me feel real stupid.
Yeah. And while we were on the episode, I only had 26 grams in that day and she only had 9. We're like, oh,
it was almost 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I was like, oh, that's a good thing. I'm literally putting my body into starvation mode. Cool. Like,
because that's what we were taught to do for our entire life.
Yep.
Just eat less.
Yep.
Eat less.
Well, and I mean, the whole bariatric journey is relearning how to live, right? And it's not only like relearning, it's like you have to decompose the programming and then you have to recompose something completely new. But you really need to do it quickly, because if you don't, you're going to be nutritionally deficient and really bad things are going to happen.
Right.
So even though you can know this, it's one thing to do it consistently. And when you get to that point, like a year or so after surgery, everything feels normal again. You feel healed. Like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, life is normal. And you just go right back to those old ways of living. And it absolutely screws you. And that's why you see so much regain. That's why you see bounce back. That's why people ghost the community, because they're going strong and all of a sudden, things get really hard and they disappear. And they think that something's wrong with them. No. Nothing is wrong with you.
No.
You don't have the tools. You don't actually know how to eat. You don't understand the mechanics behind any of this. You're lacking what you actually need to be successful.
Exactly.
And that And that first year, it's a honeymoon. It's blissful because it's just falling off and you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
But
that instant gratification all the time, all day long. That dopamine hits. You're like, boo, boo, boo.
Yep.
Boom. And you forget all of the things that you're doing. You're hitting your water goals. You're tracking. You're eating protein. You're taking your vitamins. You're moving. You're learning. You're doing all of these things, but you're telling yourself, I'm doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then year 2, you're actually stop doing some of those things. And now you're seeing the repercussions from it.
Or the thing that I found was like, I went through that honeymoon stage and I was like, nothing can go wrong. And then what happened? The world's like, watch this, and threw a divorce at me. So I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to cope with the only way I know how. And then I start gaining weight, and then I'm feeling embarrassed because I'm in the public eye a little bit more. And I feel like judged. And then as I'm experiencing all of this, I'm like, oh, no shit. That's why people don't go back on. Like they just kind of disappear, like April was saying, because it's embarrassing. You don't want to say like, hey, I gained half my weight back, but it happens.
It happens.
And the only way to move on is like, you're just not going to lay down and die just because you did that. No, you have to like, okay, let's refocus. Let's try this. Okay, it didn't work this time. Okay, so let's try this in a different way. And it's just trying to figure out the best route, because it's not, if we could lose all of our weight in a year and then never gain it back, that'd be fantastic.
Then it would be the easy way.
It would be the easy way out. But we have to continue trying. It doesn't end. Like every aspect of our life is going to continue to test us, and we have to relearn how we're going to cope with that, because for however many years of our life, we were like, oh, Ben and Jerry's, that's my coping guy right there. I'm going to eat that.
You know, he'll be there.
And and when traumatic things happen, you go towards the only coping you've had.
Your brain wants to protect you at all times. And so it knows that you've been doing that for 30 years. So it's going to go straight to the thing that made you feel good.
Yep.
So it's just like when you're in these later years, like you just have to never, like, just don't give up on yourself. It can't be like, oh, Monday or next week or whatever. You just next meal, next day, just keep checking in with yourselves. Like we did the episode. Now we realize we suck at protein, and now we have to, now we're like, okay, we got to track,
but we're very deficient.
That's way worse than I thought. So we definitely need to get back on track. And that's the thing, is you have to like be aware and like keep checking in with yourself, and just don't give up. Because when people pull back, I'll message some of these people. I've done it.
She will. She'll be like, I haven't seen a post from you in a while. What are you doing?
This is real weird.
Yep.
I actually almost messaged you guys about Ashley. And Ashley knows, like, I talk about this all the time. I was like, Ashley, when you pull away a little bit, I'll let you go. But if it's like a couple months, like I was starting to get worried because she wasn't messaging me back. I emailed her, texted her.
We're like, we will write you letters, man.
Like
we will do it.
I was like, I know that she's like, she was doing stuff with Berry Nation. I might message them. And then finally she met, like literally the next day, she messaged me and she's like, no.
We were reaching out to her too, and not getting any response back either. So I got a little scary there for a little while. But like what you guys were saying, definitely, because when I started experiencing a little bit of my regain that I've been dealing with, I reached out to April on that, and I was like, I can't talk about this shit in public. I was like, well, how are people going to look at us? Like, we're supposed to be helping people and supporting people in the community. But if I don't have my shit together, who's going to listen to us? And it's going to damage the brand. It's going to do that, you know. And then I started kind of deep diving, like spiraling. And they were like, hey, no, because we're creating the roadmap for people who need to know how to get out of this same situation. Like we're going to be, showing people exactly, that this isn't going to kill you. Like you said, you don't lay down and die from this. You don't give up. We have a tool that we didn't have before when all this happened. If we ever went on a diet and gained weight back, like we have things we can count on that weren't there before. So then we start, using these as building blocks to try to find a way to build this new road to get out of what we're, currently experiencing. And I really found that, not only was it huge for me because I got the support from the community that I needed, and the people telling me that it was okay, that it was going to be, fine, and that they've experienced it too. And, when you do find out that you're truly not alone in these types of situations, it just makes it all it just makes it worth it. Everything we do, all the things we talk to, all the DMs we do, the lives, the everything, it makes all of it worth it to know that, you know, we've started this community, you know, you guys the same way, that we've started this community and kind of everybody community policing each other to make sure that we're holding each other accountable, that we're really supporting each other in the best ways. Like this, I don't know that this community has ever been as strong as it is right now. And I legitimately think that, you know, podcasts like ours, podcasts like yours, the support that you guys give and some of the other key people in the community has really gotten this community to where it's at today.
I totally agree.
Yeah, there was, we all know Dad Rob. We love Dad.
Yes.
I talked to him one day because I was like, man, I really got to get back on track. It was during the month of macros. I was like, I really got to do something about this. And he goes, okay, so what are you going to do? Like, okay, well, I have to figure this out. And then he goes, okay, text me in the morning when you, or it was about meal prep. And he goes, text me tonight when you're done.
Oh, nice.
Fuck.
That's a great tactic. That's a great tactic, Dad Rob.
He goes, now text me in the morning when you actually eat it. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, but he didn't have to do that, right? It was like, we don't have to check in on people, but we do because we know. I mean, I had 2 failed surgeries that failed mostly because my surgeon failed, but also because I didn't know that my surgeon had failed, right? Like I didn't have that community to say that happened to me too, or whatever. Now we have this like incredible, humongous resource that it's kind of like you guys said, like it's kind of stupid not to use it. Not utilize it. And I say that in the most like loving way I can. But, like it kind of is. It's like, what? It's here now.
It is. Why not? Well, there's no excuse.
I had this epiphany the other day reading one of the, you guys know I read all the time. Maybe it was a Slight Edge, but it's a concept that basically says that we are always looking for this quantum leap. Right. We're always looking for the one thing that's going to get us from A to B instantly. Right.
Yeah.
The fastest. And right. And it's going to be the most beautiful and glamorous. And it's going to be, you know, so easy and boom. Well, I think we kind of think that with bariatric surgery, that it's this quantum leap to this happy, healthy weight, this thing that we thought we always wanted. Well, then, right. The year comes, our weight slows down. We kind of stabilize. We're not as happy as what we thought we were going to be. And we start to experience this, like this regain, or like, things are not going well.
Right.
And we want deep down to be the quantum leap for others, right?
Yeah.
We really want to be the, no, follow me. This is the solution. I've figured it out.
Right.
And all of a sudden when we realize, oh shit, I have not figured it out. And all of these people are watching me. I'm not the quantum leap. It's no wonder that people ghost. And the other scary thing for those of us who choose to support, it's like, so does that mean that people aren't going to like me anymore? Does that mean that people won't follow me? Because now all of a sudden I'm not the quantum leap and they're seeing me struggle. And maybe they think that I've been lying this whole time.
Right.
So there's all this stuff that really goes into, you know, the backside of this forward facing stuff. And the 3 of us talk often about how important it is that we're letting people know there is no quantum leap, right? That this is not going to happen. And that our story is in the struggle. That's been one of my hardest things. I am a teacher by heart. I'm a server. I'm a giver. I'm going to help everybody else. That therefore I don't have any time to work on me, because why would I do that? Right. But I need help too. And I really hit a rough patch about 6 months ago. And I just did not want to share that at all.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. And Jason and Nat both were like, we get that this is hard. We're going to give you a hot minute. Good, you know, madame. But after that hot minute, your ass is going on in the stories and you're talking about exactly what you just talked about with us, not because it's going to be embarrassing, but because you're going to have the outpouring of thousands of people. And like we always say, somebody's going to have an ingredient in their recipe. And if the community doesn't know that you're missing an ingredient, you're not going to find it. So you need to ask for help, however you ask for help, and you need to be transparent with what you're struggling with. Freaking hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it was one of the best like decisions I've ever made, which is to not ghost my friends and the community.
Yeah. I can completely relate. I mean, I've I have mentioned that I had regained, but up until the episode that we had with Michaela, I had never said how much I regained.
Oh, that's true.
And so I think I was kind of locking that inside of like, if I don't say it, then it didn't really happen type of thing. And when you're going through something very, like, it was very traumatic. It was my whole world that I thought was, you know, rainbows and sunshine turned out not to be.
Right.
And then you're changing your entire life. And then I just started gaining. And I was like, okay, 15. Okay. 20. Okay. I'm not going to weigh myself. And so then you just stop weighing yourself. And then when you step on the scale and you're like, oh, that's a very real number of gaining half my weight that I lost back. Cool. I worked very hard to do that. Nobody wants to admit that, especially to however many thousands of people that watch you.
Yeah.
But there's somebody out there that's going through the exact same thing, feeling just as embarrassed, just as like, just depressed on that topic. And I think once I cried about it and I said it, I was like, oh, it's out there. Like I can't take it back. So I can officially start working on that because I said it out loud.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
it hurts you way more by keeping it inside, way more. And you're so terrified that if you let it out, it's going to like kill you. No. Letting it out is what allows the help and the assistance to pour into that. You got to get it out. You got to make some space to take in what you need. And that's how you make that space.
And it kind of like hurts. Like
it
physically
does.
hurts.
It physically hurts.
Yeah.
It's like a knot and it's been there for like months. And I didn't realize I needed to say it until I said it. And then I was like, oh, cool. Okay. And then Michaela, of course, being Michaela, she's like, this is what's happening. And it was because, you know, I restricted for so long. I was so like in my path of weight loss surgery. I'm not deviating from this food at all. This is what I do now. But I didn't allow myself to live in between. And so I got hit with that diet culture. You know, I restricted for so long and then bam, you have traumatic experiences and you go towards your coping and you binge and you continue to binge until you address the issue, which I chose not to address for a very long time, but that's fine.
Hey, but
I'm
you
doing
are
it
now.
I'm doing it now. You know,
that's my like biggest thing. Just don't give up. You're still trying.
Yep.
And as long as you have like, and I said it again, like, as long as you have better days than not better days, is all that matters.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep.
So,
well, that's why I try to tell people when they talk about failing as a bariatric patient, I'm like, the day you fail as a bariatric patient is the day you wake up and say, I'm not doing this shit anymore. And I'm done. Yeah. I'm just going to live my life however I feel like it. Like when you abandon the program completely is the day you failed as a bariatric patient. But every day you get up and decide that you're going to continue to work on it, you're still in the game. Like don't count yourself out. Don't, people try to say, well, I only lost a pound this week. I'm like, well, that's still a pound. Like, what do you mean only? Like, take that shit out. Like, we're not doing onlys here.
Yeah,
like,
maintaining.
You do your thing. Like, that's all that matters. As long as you're putting one foot in front of the other. So you had a bad breakfast. Guess what? You got lunch and dinner to fix it. You got tomorrow to make it better. Like, we're not waiting till Monday. We're not doing this. Oh, the first of the month will be better. Like, no, today's better. Like breakfast, lunch, dinner, like snacks in between. Like, build around it, make it happen. Like, you can fix it. You're either in bariatric compliance or you're out of bariatric compliance. And the difference between the two are just a couple of steps.
Yes.
It's one decision. You're one decision away from compliance. Am I going to take my vitamins or not? Take your vitamins. You're in compliance.
Boom.
You have done something. And some days, that's all you can do. And that's okay. You did the one.
You did the one. Been there. Because I did the protein.
Yep.
Pick one.
It's that all or nothing thinking. That was my biggest epiphany this summer. It was like I was beating myself up because it was like, oh, you didn't journal this morning. You haven't taken your vitamins yet. You're such a failure. What are you doing? And I was like, wait a minute. I can journal anytime. And I can take my vitamins at any time. And I was like, oh my God. Like you can take the whole day. You can take the whole day.
You can do it right before you go to bed.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah. Literally, I just started new medications and it was funny. I was reading like the bottle, just to make sure I like know what I'm doing. And it said on the bottle, like, if you miss a dose, take it when you remember.
Nice.
And I was like, like I had one of those like moments where I was like, just do it when you remember. It's like brushing your teeth. Just do it when you remember. It doesn't have to be in the morning and at night. Just as long as you do it twice a day, like you're good. Well, so it's like, why do we do that in bariatric life?
Well, it's like, it's great to have a routine, right? It's great to build this routine because it's automatic and it's healthy and it's great. How you're not going to be like, there's no such thing as a perfect routine and there's no such thing as a perfect bariatric patient.
No.
So, take what your bottle said, do it when you remember. So if you're like, oh, I didn't journal today. Oh, well, I have 10 minutes now. I'll just, and it doesn't matter. Like, does it have to be 10 minutes of journaling? Can it be 1 minute? Can it be like, shit, I forgot to journal. And then you walk away because you're still journaling technically.
Yeah.
You're still thinking about it.
There.
So it's just all of how you interpret what a winner and what a failing bariatric patient looks like.
Well, and we're the ones doing that to ourselves, though. Like
nobody else is
we're
looking
creating
like that.
what the good one is, what the bad one is, because my version can be completely different than your version,
and half the time,
and we put these arbitrary timelines on ourselves.
Yes.
Like, why is it only the first year and a half? Like, literally, once you have surgery, you are a bariatric patient for the rest of your life, no matter whatever you want to say. It's on your medical chart. Like, that's who you are.
That's what we're always saying. Like Jason or Natalie said, like, it's basically like, this is the start of a new life. You are always a bariatric. There is no end.
Yeah.
This is your life now.
There's no after to this journey. And that's why, like, yes, I post before and afters and all this stuff, but I'm like, I try to steer away from that because people are chasing the after, but it never comes. Ever.
Right. Yeah. And that is, I think, what social media kind of fixated on, that quantum leap thing, is that they see people, at the very beginning and they see their end and they think it just happens like that. And it's like, I talk about it all the time. It's like, oh, enjoy the struggle, man. Like, enjoy the suck, because the suck's here. And because you have to enjoy that time frame, because you're not going to be able to get to where you want to be if you don't. And just run through the muck. It's okay. It's supposed to be painful. Nothing's easy.
Well, and I think when I started my journey, that's what I saw. I saw very heavy people, and then what they turned, like what they worked so hard to get. But you don't see that. You see, oh, they were heavy and now they're skinny.
Yeah.
I want that. And, obviously mine was a little bit more detailed of like, I did it for my health first because I was immobile. But I think that's what I saw. And I was like, okay, so now I'm fat, and then I'll be skinny and I'll be healthy and I'll be good. I never have to worry about anything ever again. And then when I got there, I still didn't like what I was at because I didn't truly do any work to show myself anything else.
You weren't happy with you. I think that's the deal.
Well, I wasn't happy in my marriage.
That's why,
the main key.
Yeah. And we preach the whole therapy because, like, you get to, if you have therapy right after surgery or even leading up to, like, you actually get to figure out who you are with the therapist.
Exactly.
As you're losing the weight, as you're doing the process, because it makes it a lot easier. Because, like, I always say it's about year 2, everybody kind of finds out who they are. And it's like, for me, it was harder because I was having breakdowns, not understanding why I was having breakdowns until like light bulb turns on. I'm like, oh, it's because I can't have food. I can't have what I want when I want it, and I'm going to cry about it.
Well, and crying is healthy.
And crying is healthy.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you. Don't be ashamed of crying. Like, just get it out. I don't care. It drives me nuts.
Cry. I'll watch a sad movie just to cry.
No, I hate it. I hate it. Like, I get like... I'm just like, this is so stupid. What is going on? She'll cry, and I'm like, you just keep that emotion over there.
I don't cry with people around. I turn a movie on in the dark, and I have my cry, and then I get out and I wipe, and I'm fine.
Oh, I get embarrassed for myself. Like, I'm like, that's embarrassing. Do not cry. Like, I've never been an emotional person, and especially crying. And so, like, even being alone, like watching a show, and it'll make me tear up. And I'm like, why? Suck it up.
Oh my God. No one's around.
I know, but I still do it. I'm like, there's no need to cry. Like, yeah.
I am very similar to you. girlfriend. And I have had to learn, we humans are emotional people. I thought I was born without tear ducts. I do in fact have them. And learning to be able to expel my emotions has been a huge stepping stone along this journey, because I was keeping them bottled up, and that bottling was not doing good things for my physical health or my mental health. So getting to the place where I'm not going to beat myself up over emotions escaping my body. I just have to be okay with that and acknowledge that. And I think so many of us in this community struggle with that, because we haven't been taught about emotions. We've been taught that they're wrong or bad, or that it's going to make us appear a certain way. And we have worked so hard as obese people to craft an image that is acceptable to somebody so we can find a job or find love or find friends, or right. Like we've been so enamored with crafting this perfect vision of ourselves. And then when all of a sudden we start to recognize ourselves in the mirror, we realize, oh, I maybe don't have to craft. I can actually just be myself. And that normally, then that can bring up a lot of, that emotion stuff. It's hard. It's a real, and that's a part of the journey again. Nobody knows or talks about, because I just have surgery and I lose weight and everything's great. Right.
Yep. Yep. Life is perfect. There are no more traumatic experiences. I keep the weight off always, and I don't battle with food anymore.
Oh, said no one ever.
Said no bariatric patient ever.
Because bad things only happen to big people. Bad things only happen because I was at my heaviest weight. Once I lose it all, it's not going to be bad.
Yeah, there's
I think you need a shirt with that saying.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Said no bariatric patient
ever.
Well, but it's the arrival fallacy, right? We are taught, or we are shown that, like, once you are skinny, once you are a certain size, once you are this, all of the missing pieces of your life will come together.
Yep.
And it is devastating to get to a low weight and realize my weight was actually had nothing to do with any of this. For me, I was just using it as an excuse. I was using it as like, it was the one thing that was preventing me from doing or being or all of the things. Yeah. And then when I got down to that low weight, it was like, this actually had nothing to do with anything to start with.
Yep.
And that's a brutal reality. It's another reason why people go to the community, because they think, oh, well, that's what I thought it was. So I guess I'm just always going to be fill in the blank.
Yes.
And it's just absolutely not true. That's the work of weight loss surgery. What I always talk about, what we always talk about, is that for me, the gift of bariatric surgery was it took away my last excuse. It took away the last excuse I had to delay the work.
Yeah.
There is nothing more now that is preventing me from doing it besides me just fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's brutal because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. No,
you got to.
Now I have to.
You have to. You have to put in that work, man.
Therapy, I was like, no, I'm good. I am handling everything like a champ.
Did you really think that?
Yes, I did not, by the way. I did not handle it well at all. And so when you finally start therapy, yes, that was the running theme in my head. And I'm handling this very well, considering, like, I'm handling it really well. In all actuality, Cake was helping me handle that.
Right.
And starting therapy, like, I remember getting on there and he's like, so what are you wanting to talk about? And I was like, well, I have a very hard time showing my emotions, and apparently I need to work on that. And so I run through all of the things with him, and he just looks at me. He's all, you're going to be an interesting case. And I was like, not quite sure if you mean that in a positive or bad way, but that's okay. I'll take it. I am an interesting person. And you can tell, like, he likes talking to me because he's like very animated when we talk, because it's over Zoom, or like their version of Zoom. But I'm realizing how much, because I usually have my therapy and then we're together. So we kind of like unbox all the therapy that I had just unboxed together. And then when you're getting those realizations of like, oh, that's why I do that. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere now. And you start unpacking all those little things that you've been holding on to and you didn't even realize you were holding on to. And weight loss surgery gave me that opportunity. Because had I'd not had surgery, I wouldn't even be worried about any of this.
No, you wouldn't
None
at all.
of it.
Yeah.
No. And I think I got more happier once, like, because it wasn't the weight, like you're saying, like once you got there, it's not that. It was the fact of like figuring out who I am, what I want to do, who do I actually want to be around? Because like that's a big deal. Like there are some really toxic people that I had around that I didn't realize were toxic until later on. You know, when you start telling people no, because that's actually what helped me like be comfortable in my skin was like if I said no to someone and they didn't get mad at me, I was like, oh, okay, so we actually are chill. Like
it is normal for people to say no.
Yeah, it's allowed. You're not going to freak out on me. And I had a lot of friends that would be really upset, like devastated if I would just cancel anything.
She was a weird one.
She was a weird one. I loved her at the time, like to death. We were friends for like a decade, but she would like go by my house and be like, "You're home. Why aren't you talking to me?" Got real weird. And I was like,
well, no. You were her only friend.
I know. But like you have to cut some of those people out because they're just like weighing their stuff on you. And once you feel comfortable saying no, now you can finally actually be like, okay, I am happy now. Like I'm at the final, like I can feel comfortable. I feel comfortable in my skin. I'm not worried about the scale anymore. Like I'm doing the work, like going to therapy and like walking, like just trying to have some movement. Cause like there's going to be months, guys. If you're listening and you think you're going to be moving every single day for the rest of your life, you have something else to be like, coming towards you because
April's face.
You got to figure it out. Cause sometimes it's not going to happen and that's okay. You just need to do something a little bit, like not a lot. Don't go like, I have to be at the gym for 4 hours today. No. Maybe it's just a walk around the block. Maybe it's just you going up and just stretching. It could be little. It doesn't have to be this huge thing.
Well, and I think to add on to that, like so many people use the food and the exercise as a form of punishment to themselves.
Yes.
Because you're like, no, because you were fat and you couldn't control yourself. This is why we're in this situation. So we're going to work out for 5 hours a day and we're going to eat only leafy greens and pure protein. And like because I was one of them. I was punishing myself for having to go through it. And now looking back, I'm like, no. That's not how this works. Like you still are allowed to have a whole life together while going through this, and you don't have to punish yourself. You didn't do anything because you actually were the most brave you were going into surgery.
Yeah.
Because that in itself is a very brave move. And you have to thank your past self for doing that. So don't punish her or him. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also like what you guys are talking about saying no, being able to say no, you have to say no to yourself sometimes too. It's not just about whether or not you say no to yourself on binging or breaking your program or whatever it is. Sometimes you have to say no to yourself when you realize, like Kelly said, like when you start going apeshit and going off the wall and going, only boiled chicken and green beans for the rest of my life. Like that's all it's going to be. Like bland shit. I'm not going to like it, but I got to do it because that's the program. Like, no, nobody follows that. You're not going to continue. That's not sustainable. So, you know, being former people pleasers and trying to do everything we can to help everybody else, that's part of where that factors in. Like what, you know, like Mel was saying, it's hard to say no to people and think that they're still going to want to be around.
Yeah.
Because as bigger people, we just assume that people only like us because of what we can do for them, or people only want to be in relationships with us. We settle for whatever we can get because at least somebody loves us.
Right.
You know, we settle for a job because at least somebody hired me. And, you know, we go through this process, we start shedding some pounds and we realize like, we start getting the mental clarity that comes post-op and you start realizing, well, shit, like people are really using me as a doormat or somebody's using me for this, or this job really treats me like shit because they're not letting, you know, whatever it may be. And people start wanting better for themselves. And it's hard to have those conversations, but you realize, you know, like Kel said, pre-op is the most difficult decision and conversation you're going to have is with yourself to even have the surgery to begin with.
Yeah.
And not only did that decision and conversation not kill you, it actually saved your life. So, you know, these difficult conversations moving forward, you can have them and it doesn't kill you. It only adds to the strength that you have not only to continue moving, but to continue cultivating these healthy relationships in all aspects of your life.
Yes.
Boom.
I know. I actually got chills.
I got chills
too.
too.
You see it? Oh my God. That was crazy.
That was a very like well
said, man.
rehearsed.
He doesn't rehearse
right.
anything.
Never mind.
If you remember the beginning of the episode.
That was
dome, baby, off the dome.
He does this every episode. That's what I'm saying. I spent hours on show notes and Jason's just like, well, drops these bombs and is like,
right?
Peace.
Yep.
What the hell? And there was like, oh, Jason.
Like, never mind. I just wrote the whole show, but whatever.
Don't mind.
So good.
No, I think what you're saying is completely accurate. Like, that's the biggest aspect of the journey. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it all that often.
No.
Of like, hey, go back and think about how much courage you had to have to walk into that OR and be like, sure, cut out 80% of my stomach. This seems, totally normal. Now we know it is because we're in it and we're hoping to like break that of like, because back when I was doing it, I didn't know. I was just like, okay, cool. You're going to take out part of my stomach. I'm going to get skinny. That's what I kind of like equated to it. And now I know better.
We have this conversation all the time. It's like, is it better that we went into it not knowing these things? Because if we knew all of this beforehand, would we really have talked ourselves out of it?
Yeah.
And how do you actually explain to people what the work of weight loss surgery is before they're actually in it?
You can't.
It's almost like one of those things. It's like you actually just have to be living it to get it and to move through it.
Yeah.
And I think where the power of our conversations and how we support the community is that when people get to these moments, they will have heard, listened, interacted, internalized, learned, oh, this is normal. Other people have gone through this. So even though I wasn't prepared for this, I now recognize that this is just a normal part of the path.
Right. Yeah.
And other people have moved through it. So now, again, you've got a recipe that you can go to and say, oh, well, this is how they did it. This is how they did it. Right. And craft your own recipe to get you through this moment. Yeah. But just to know that you're not alone just lowers the temperature instantly and will hopefully allow other people to find more success in the end.
Yeah. Because that's actually what I use like Instagram and all the social media for is like finding what works, what they're doing that works that also will work for me. Because it's not going to be like their whole thing, but maybe there's something in there that will actually work on my side. And it happens all the time. Like people don't realize like Jay said earlier in this episode, like you guys support us just as much as like vice versa. And we look at all your guys' accounts. We see it all.
We see it all.
Like, and like sometimes like it's super freaking helpful. And you're like, oh, I wouldn't know about like that technique. Like, okay, like I now know how to calm myself down. I know how to journal. Like there's things I just didn't know beforehand. Yeah. So
yeah, it's really incredible. The things that have gone on since, because it's been at this point 2.5 years since we've been in this community, like full force. And it's incredible how it has grown and it continues to grow. Yeah. And more people are being open to the idea that this isn't just this quick fix. This is actually something that people actually need medically. And it's not just the easy way because we're losing weight naturally just the same as the other people. And I'm pretty sure if a couple of our people who have been on like 2 to 3 month stalls, they would be like, I will punch you if you say this is the easy way out. Yeah. Because it's really not. It fucks with your brain every single day. And it doesn't matter if you're 2 days post-op or 3 years post-op. It's still going to fuck with your brain and you still have to roll it back in and be like, okay, what am I doing? Like, let's go back. Okay, let's do water, protein, exercise. Cool. We're getting it. Yes. And then you go back and because that's kind of how I think of like going back to the basics of like, okay, let's track water, protein, take our vitamins or water, protein, exercise, something like that, where it's the same. It's the same for everybody. And so you just focus on those and then you can incorporate others because there's a lot. Like April said it earlier, like there's all these different pieces that you're trying to put into this big puzzle. And sometimes you just can't see it all and you can't use it all at once. You have to do one piece at a time.
Yes.
To see the bigger picture.
It's amazing how much actually goes into it. In a lot of ways, the easy way out is to stay fat. That's the easy way. Yep. This is the absolute, you are slogging through the jungle, making a path that has never been made before, hard work. Yep. And it's a brutal awakening when you get to that point. And I think that's why we are also infuriated when people want to troll or hate on you for the decision that you've made. But that's, again, the power of this community is that when those mean people crop up, you have a safe place to turn because you know, we kind of said it earlier. It's like, well, we just don't care what people think. That's not actually true. Every one of those statements hits and nicks and draws blood. The difference is that where before we did not have a doctor to turn to, let's say, right, to help us. We didn't have, you know, people to turn to help us tend that wound.
Yes.
We have that now. So it doesn't mean that it's not hitting hard. It just means that we have to absorb that blow. And now we need to turn to a community to help us mend that.
Yeah.
And the stronger that this community gets, maybe the less arrows that will be that will be, you know, thrown our way. Seriously. And, you know, it speaks to the name of, you know, your podcast. It speaks to Berry Nation. I think we named them for very specific reasons.
Yeah.
And that is that this is a life. This isn't a one and done, right? This is something that we are doing for the rest of our lives. Yeah. We went with Berry Nation because we really feel that if we unite as a nation of bariatric patients, we will be able to create the support and the community that we need to find long-term success.
Yeah.
It's this coming together. It's this bond. It's this, you know, the Romans had that maneuver where as soon as the arrows started flying, they made that dome with their shields. And I really feel like that is what we're doing. We're just saying, you know what? People are going to attack us no matter what.
Yep.
So instead of trying to stop the attacks, we need to come up with a defensive shield to protect the people that need it. And then we can do what we need to do underneath that, because eventually our army is going to grow and that shield is going to grow, and it's going to push everybody off to the side that just wants to continue to hate on it. Because your life, if you're hating on me, your life is 10 times worse than mine.
Yeah.
And you are wasting your precious energy attacking me. That you're wasting your life force. And I don't actually need to care or worry about that because that's on you. So if I can deflect, if I have a community to help me deflect that, that's energy that I get to use on my own self.
Yes.
So, you know, like it's going to take work. It's going to take monumental effort, but that's why we're seeing the community really grow. It's because I really get the sense that people are like, oh, we can do this. We can be a part of this greater community. We can build this shield, and then we can dictate the support that we need. We can make it happen, because if surgeons and centers just don't get it, then I need to stop wasting my energy with them, and I need to focus my energy on where I can change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a powerful place to be. And it's, I think, one of the first times that like a medical community, you know, has really kind of done that. But patients we're sick and tired of being treated like idiots.
Yeah. Because we're not.
No, we're not.
No,
we're not. And we have the capability to do it. So if you won't listen to me and if you won't change, then I will be the change that I need in my life and the change of the community. And you know what? Screw you. I don't give a shit what you think or what you do, because you've proven to me that you don't understand what this is about at all. You kept me alive. You provided excellent medical care. Thank you. Not adequate in any sense of the word. So peace. I'm going to go do this. And we're seeing it now because all of the surgeons that we all work with are on board with us. They realize how important patient voice is. It is the missing piece to this. Yeah. That's why the surgeons are like, we're so excited to work with you. We want to be on the podcast. How can we help?
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. You get it.
Yeah.
You can help. The rest of you, don't talk to me.
The rest of you, fuck off.
Right? It is funny when I see those comments too, because I'm like, bro, get a hobby. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, come on.
Don't even get started.
Well, and especially when they're like, well, you should have done that. Oh, yes. Let me reverse the irreversible surgery. Thank you for pointing out something that can't actually be physically done, you numbnuts.
Right?
Mexico and just have my surgeon just reattach my stomach.
Yeah, that sounds like it's totally legitimate.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, we actually got a comment last night from somebody that wrote moo on one of our things. And I was like, first off, you're an idiot, because like, seriously,
creative, honestly.
I know. Like, at least come up with a creative insult, but moo?
Like, we haven't heard that shit before.
Okay.
You know what you should type back? You should be like, oh, thank you. That's a great reminder for me to go eat some protein.
Yes. Thank
Nice.
you.
My beef today.
Yeah. I already had my beef today. You're good. Thanks.
Like,
Thanks
thank
for the
you.
reminder though. I'm good. Yeah. It's really interesting some of the things people say. And I'm just like, no. Because the way I look at it is like AA, they are a group of support for people that need help. Nobody makes fun of them.
No, not at all.
Like,
they wouldn't think twice.
So what is the difference? Like, because food addiction is very severe. They're one of the same. They're all under the same umbrella.
Well, they won't label it. They won't label it.
I know they won't label it, but it's stupid.
Because we talked to Dr. Shapiro and she went through the list of addiction and what the same answers to food.
Yeah.
We're all the same, but it won't be classified.
It won't be classified as an addiction, even though it is an addiction. And it is even harder because you have to have it to live.
Yep.
You cannot be abstinent from food because you'll die.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and one of the main ingredients in all processed food is sugar or sugar substitutes, which is the most highly refined product on the planet. It's 100 times more addictive than heroin.
Yes.
Yeah. And yet you want to be like, oh, just eat less. Like that's one of the big things that this boils down to is that people assume that fat people are fat because they eat too much food.
Yeah.
They have no idea about the disease of obesity, why it's caused. And even modern science is still trying to understand all of the different components that go into the disease of obesity.
Yeah.
But yet everybody just wants to sit back in their recliners and go, well, they're just fat because they eat too much.
Yeah.
Like,
that's no, that's not the case at all. There's this huge disconnect. But again, that's where the power of our community can come in and be like, hey, numbnuts, that's not actually the case at all. Here's really what contributes to the disease of obesity. Let me educate you.
Yeah.
But most of the people don't care because it's much easier to just sit back and make fun of other people instead of dealing with their own issues. So we're going to pick on fat people because we think fat people are idiots. So that's why I'm just like, whatever. I'm so done with all of you that want to think all of these other things instead of actually becoming educated on it. I'm just going to focus my attention to our beautiful, amazing community and do whatever we can do to help them and just
100%. Yes.
Whatever. I got no time for this. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, I had a comment on a reel a couple weeks ago where I said, please educate yourself. Here are resources. And they literally said, no. I said,
then get off my page.
I'm not arguing with you because you are choosing ignorance instead of, I mean, they literally thought bariatric surgery was liposuction. They kept saying liposuction in the comment. And I said, actually, it's this. Here are 5 surgeons that you can research right now. And I tagged every single one of them. And he just straight up said, no, I won't look it up. And I'm like, okay, peace out.
But we're the idiots. But we're the idiots.
But I'm done.
Yeah. And that is why I will have a TED Talk no matter where we are. I have done it on the beach. I have done it in the middle of the gas station.
Yeah, the little market.
I will literally, because somehow it always comes up. And I'll be like, thanks, I had weight. Or they'll ask like, what kind of work do you do or something? And so I'll say, I run a podcast. Well, what's this podcast? Well, weight loss surgery. I had surgery, 3 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, oh, so you got the band thing? I'm like, no. Okay. So we're going to get out the chalkboard. These are the surgery names. This is what they do. I've done it in Starbucks. I don't know how many times. Her son actually said, please, for the love of God, do not tell them that you run a bariatric podcast. Like, I drove him home and I had done it so many times. He's like, please don't talk to them.
Just don't
please,
talk to them today.
Just please don't. And I was like, if they ask me, I have to answer.
Dude, our running joke is that sometimes we feel like, Latter-day Saints or Mormons, they do a lot of missionary work, right? They always have the cards like, have you heard of Jesus? We always feel like, have you heard of the miracle of bariatric surgery? But we want to just carry these cards around with us and just, anybody like, have you heard the good word? Have you heard about bariatric surgery?
It's here.
That's like, it's here. It's
carry around our bariatric Bibles. Have you heard about this? Be like, can we come sit down with you and have a discussion with you about this? Because we would love for you to become a part of our group.
We would.
Join our community.
Please join our community. We're not a cult.
Super not culty at all. I promise.
We won't not trying to marry you off or make you drink any juices. It's totally fine.
Yeah, we're not going to drug you or keep you in our
We're just going to educate you and show you how you can build the best life possible. It's really great. Totally.
Exactly. I just think my favorite part about everything is we get to meet people that we would have never would
have talked to.
Mm-hmm. Never would have talked to.
No, I would have never known any of you people right now. No. This is crazy.
We would have known each other. But
I was looking at them.
I thought you looked at me.
Well, I literally was talking to my parents the other day and I said, Mom, we got on the topic of weddings. I have a wedding coming up that we're going to. And I said, you realize you're in trouble. And she goes, why? And I said, because my family, you're now planning for 3 families to come because I'll have my family, my partner's family, and my Barry family.
Yeah. Yes.
I said, there's no way you're gonna be paying for a small wedding. Nope. I want you to. I'm gonna warn you now.
It's so cute because a lot of us are already married.
Yeah.
Or like, for me, I'm not getting ever married again. But for like Natalie, she's in her 20s. So like you are going to eventually get married and that'll be so fun. I'm already inviting myself to your wedding. So sorry.
Yeah, we'll be there.
But like, it's real though, because I would never have met, April, Jason, you two, like never would have met. I mean, I have people in my phone that I've only known for like, it's 8 months.
Yeah.
And they're some of the people that I talk to every single day. Like they know so much about me and it's only been 8 months, So this is amazing.
It's crazy.
It really is cool. Yeah. And it's like you become like, what's even cooler, I think, is that like when you connect people. So like you have one person and then another person and somehow they connect and they get on a subject together. And then they're like the best of friends. They were like, there's 2 girls that were on ours and we connected them. And it was simply because one of them needed to
talk about gastric bypass.
Yeah, she wanted. And so we had put up in our stories and said, hey, if anybody had gastric bypass and you're okay with talking to somebody else, we have somebody that like to talk to you. So we connected them. They are like literally the best of friends.
Yeah.
And they actually met for the first time.
They did.
Like a month ago.
They took a photo and sent it to us.
Yeah. And it was so cute because they're like, without you guys, this wouldn't have happened. And like, that's where like, it just makes everything worth it. Like
that's
all
how
the
you
stress,
know what
all
you're
the
doing.
planning, all of it together. Like it's worth it in the end because we have our bariatric family. We get to connect all these people and it just keeps growing by like daily. It just keeps growing. So yeah.
Well, I think we should like, what is it? Round table, like what our tricks are, tips.
Number one tip
before we wrap up.
I'm gonna make you start.
You're gonna make me start.
You came up with the idea.
I know. I was gonna go last.
No, not at all.
That's the April trick. That's the April trick.
Oh, they're calling you out. We do the same thing.
They call me out all the time. All the time.
I love it. No, key. Like I would say, the biggest tip is understand you're gonna have struggles and that's part of the process.
Yes.
And don't worry about it. It's literally like a season. You're gonna have like a couple days or a week or whatever it is, but you will come out of it. That's my pro tip for people. Just know you go down a little bit, you're just gonna come right back up.
Yep.
And Kelly's phone rings.
Sorry, that was Zach's daughter. She likes to call me. We'll deal with that later. Okay, Jason, your tip.
Mine just being consistency is key. Stay consistent. Do the thing. It's about more good days than bad days. It's about just knowing that you can be as consistent as you want to be, but you can also talk yourself out of a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So you've got to be honest with yourself and just stay as consistent as you can be, but know that consistency is going to look different for a lot of different people.
Yes,
so
I like that.
Stay as consistent to your program as you can, and you'll see the results you want to see.
All right. April.
Man, I'm vacillating between 2.
I'll just say them both.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess the two things that have helped me the most is understanding that I can take the whole day to accomplish what I set out to accomplish. It doesn't need to be done if I can set a timeline, and if that timeline doesn't work, it's okay. I have the whole day. And the other thing for me is that, you can set a goal and you can think that you're going to reach that goal by doing it one way. When that doesn't work, it doesn't mean that your goal is not attainable. It means you need to try it a different way. So always thinking of your journey as like a GPS route, and relying on the community and your tools and people and experts to help you recalculate your route to keep your goal the same, but just keep trying different pathways to get there.
Oh, I like that.
I like it too.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Natalie.
Hooper had to get up and join it.
I love it.
He's so cute. He's so cute.
I also have two that I think are important.
Okay.
The first one I've been saying from the beginning, it's grow through what you go through. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to be this bright, big flower all the time. There are going to be dark days under the soil. You're going to do a lot of work. And it won't necessarily show on the scale or even physically, but you're still doing a lot of mental work and things under the surface. And things will happen and trials will happen, but you just keep growing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second one is that sometimes saying yes also means having to say no.
Okay.
So when you say yes to things, like since I've had my surgery, I'm saying yes to things because I can do things.
Yeah.
I said yes to my surgery, but it's like now I can actually go and I can do all these active things. But also sometimes I've said yes to this journey, and sometimes I have to say no to things.
Yeah.
That's something I'm learning very recently.
Okay.
That, sometimes saying yes means you might have to say no.
All right. I like that.
So I've got two also.
Miss Kellykins.
Okay. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's.
Yes.
Don't.
Yes.
Just don't. There's no good way of doing that.
There's no reason for
Nope.
it.
Even if they have the exact same stats as you, same height, same weight, same everything, your journey is going to be completely different because you're a completely different body. Like you are a different person.
Yes.
So remember to not compare. I mean, you can definitely pull resources and get helpful tips and things like that. But what works for somebody won't work for you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Okay. And then the second one, I completely forgot.
Oh,
what it was. So I'm just going to go with don't compare your journey.
I like
we'll
it.
Just go with that.
I like it.
Yeah.
This was great. I'm so glad we got everyone together.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a hot minute. And I think some people in the community think that we're not friends. And then they're shocked when they're like, oh, you're friends with them?
Like,
of course we're friends. Why the hell would we not be friends with them? So I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. And based on how good this conversation, we clearly need to do this again.
Yes, most definitely.
We can talk for hours, guys.
I think it's really cool because I think why people don't think we're friends is because we were both like we and you guys were so focused on like what you were doing that there wasn't like, oh, we need to collab with this other podcast. You were thinking, okay, I need to go on my route and I need to do the things that I need to do.
Yep.
And then once we're kind of like, okay, we still have a shit ton of things to do, but now that we've met in person and all of these things, like now it's just like easy. But I think you get so focused on
tunnel
what's
vision.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I need to help the followers. I need to help the people. I need to be the support. And then you forget about
everybody else.
Like connecting with each other.
Yeah. I mean, like full disclosure for anyone listening, we've been trying to plan this for a year and a half.
Oh,
basically. Yeah.
At least.
We've been talking about, since my surgery or like shortly after my surgery.
Yeah.
We've been like, oh, let's get us all together a year and a half later. So like, just know this is a long time coming.
We talk behind the scenes.
We
people.
do, people.
We talk behind the scenes.
Yes, all the damn time.
No, I'm so glad we did this. And it'll be fun to do another one.
Yes, absolutely.
This was a great talk.
This like flowed so well. So,
all right. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye.